Hey, what's going on, guys? It's time for another great video. In today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to create an alkaline battery, and it's like a AA battery. So first, to get started, what I want to do is introduce you to what we're going to actually do and show you a visual what this looks like. I'm going to bring over my PureRef because I'm going to use this to model this out. I'm not going to trace it. I want to bring attention to some detail here. We're going to make the positive end right here. We're going to make the negative end here. I wanted to get a picture of it. I want to make this little seam right here to make it look photorealistic. And if you look here, you can see where it indents in a little bit. Now a little zoomed in view. And offline, I'm going to create a vector-based image to wrap it. We're going to UV unwrap this thing once we model it, and then we're going to wrap it up. So let's go ahead and, oh, and one last thing before I forget. We're going to essentially mimic this scene right here. So we're going to have one battery standing up vertical and then another line on its side to kind of like showcase the battery. We're basically going to recreate this. However, the label is probably going to be different. I'm not going to go into this much detail. Let's go ahead and let's get started. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and begin by get rid of the scene here. And if you notice, there's something new on the screen. And before I went to the break here, I drew out a little quick battery, and I've got the height at 1.8 inches, and I've got the diameter at 0.5 inches. It's a rough measurement. I didn't use my calipers to measure this. I actually used a tape measure, so it'll be close enough for what we want to do here. So let's go ahead and get started by adding in a circle. And I don't need 32. Let's do 16. And with the radius here, that's how big around it is. I'm gonna do 0.5 IN space IN for inches. It'll convert it back to metric if your blender is set up to do metric. And then let's zoom right in. This right here that we're looking at here is going to be the bottom. So if I bring in my deal over here, it'll be, we're basically modeling this bottom piece here, the silver metal. So let's do the following. I want to bring this up a tad here. Sorry, let me go back and select everything again. About that height, and let's bring it up. I'm gonna extrude it on Z. Bring out my end panel here. Let's go to item, X and Y. I want to be 0.5 inches. Okay, and then right down here, I want this to be 1.8. So now I need to apply the scale. Let's go ahead and continue with our modeling here. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to select this edge loop here. And what I want to do is if I go back, let me see if I can do this in an intelligent way. So what I'm doing is I'm focusing on this little piece right in here. And then I'm going to extrude it down a little bit on Z, not much. And I'm going to ENS it again, like so. And then what I want to do is I want to grid fill it, boom, like so. So let me look at this from the bottom, zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. And let's do like that. Okay, so see now we got like a little taper here, right here, and then that's nice. And I just noticed something, so let me do one other thing. Let me go to view here. Let me go to change my clip start so that when I zoom in, it doesn't start eating into the view there. All right, so now I can move this back off the screen for now. All right, so all we're doing is this core. So what I want to do now is come back up here, and I want to create ENS. I'm gonna bring it in, but where I'm gonna do differently here, actually, let me scale this out just a little because I think it came in a little too much. All right, so what I want to do now is just bring this post up, and then what I want to do is ENS, and for here I want to grid fill it. Boom. Let's look at it from the top, and let's do the same thing. All right, so I mean, right now we've basically got this core. Go to face select mode, and what I want to do, go to the normal view here. Let's go to X-ray mode. I want to select all these faces and go all the way around. I'm gonna come out of X-ray mode, and then also what I want to do is I want to select all of these faces up here like that. I think you guys can see where I'm going with this. Let me put an edge loop here, and I'm gonna show you why I want to do this. I want to do this because I want this to cut about right here. I want to see silver metal all the way around here. So let's do our selection again. Go face select, select everybody here, come out of X-ray. Let's go ahead and pick all of these faces down here just to kind of get it going. See, now I'll have room to make that part that isn't selected all metal when we do the texture and everything. So let's come back up here and then let's grab all these faces as well. Boom, right here. All right. So now what I want to do here is I want to create a duplicate, just like you see here. I'm going to right click, I'm going to hit P, new selection, come back out to object mode. So now I got circle and circle one. So let me go ahead and do the following here. Let me get rid of this light. Let me go here and let me rename this to model.core. And let's rename this one model.outer. So select them both, go to M, create a new collection. I'm gonna call it model.battery. Okay. And just so I can see it like I typically do is I'll give it a little bit of color. I'll put the camera, I'm gonna put the camera here in its own collection as well. Call it cams. And this is just a habit I have. So if I'm doing a scene where there's multiple cameras or something, it's just, for me, it's just very easy to do it this way. And what I'm gonna do now, let's go back to our model battery. Let's go to our outer. What I wanna do is I'm gonna go to my modifiers and I wanna generate, go to generate, and then I wanna create solidify. A big old solidify. And what I want to do with that is I just wanna run it. I don't need that much because you see that's a whole lot. We're gonna have to manually tweak this. 0.0001. Let's change this to about 0.000. I'm gonna try 4. I want to see what that looks like. Yeah, that'll work. And what I want to do is I want to apply it, and I want to look at my normals, and I want to make sure all of that stuff is good. So see, my core is backwards, so not a problem. We can leave it in there. I'm gonna go to vertex edit mode, select everything, hit shift N, come back out to object mode. There we go. So now all the things are fixed. So all right, so now I can go back in here and turn the face orientation view off. So now we got us pretty much a battery. So really the only thing left to do here is to do our bevels, sub D, our geo. All right, so let's make sure everything's good with you guys. I'll come back and then we'll start cleaning up the geo here. So now that we've done that, I have gone in and saved my file. First thing I want to do, let's go ahead and tackle the core first. So let's select the core here. I'm going to hit / to isolate it, as you see here. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edge edit mode and put in some loop cuts in here. Don't need to be real dense. And actually a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go into ortho mode, and I'm going to show you guys a little trick that I usually do. I'll look at this visually like a square. So like there's an edge up here, there's an edge here, edge here, edge here. And I'll try to make it to where it looks like a square everywhere else. That equally distributes your geometry, which actually will decrease any potential shading issues that you have once you start putting materials on it and that kind of thing. Because you're giving the geometry enough room to deform to where it deforms very smoothly. So that's why you want good geometry here, but you don't need to overdo it because then you make the geometry too heavy. Let's look at, let me bring over my ref again. And I really want you to focus on up here. I'm still in edge select. I'm gonna select this edge here. I'm gonna zoom in, and I wanna do these bevels kind of one at a time. And I'm just gonna put a nice little bevel right here. 2 segment bevel at a shape of 0.5 because I want to have a little bit of roundness. I'm looking at the lead right here, it's a little bit sharper. So let's select this edge here. But what I do want to do on this one is I want to have an edge of 1. And then up here, it's a nice little rounded bevel. And I'm trying not to zoom in too much because then it might be distracted for you on the video. So now we're going to go back to 0.5 because I want this to be a nice little rounded, easy bevel. And also right here, something I noticed, I want to put a loop cut here. So to carry over those squares. Nice little loop cut there. And keep in mind, we're still working on just the core. So I've got, let me double check. Bevel, bevel, bevel. We're good there. Got distribution loop cuts here. Now I need to work it down here at the bottom. So let's do this one. Select that edge. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Nice little bevel here. Let's do a shape of 1. And let's grab this guy here. Same thing, but I'm gonna change the shape back to 0.05. I don't need a lot of bevel there. Something about like that. So let me show you guys. Now, granted, this is the core. So let me put a level. I'm gonna do a level 3. I want this to look nice and clean. There's your level 3 subdivision on it. Let me do shade smooth. Boom. Look at that. There's your core of your battery right there. See, nice and clean. See the difference in the bevel? See how this bevel is a little bit tighter than this one? That's on purpose. And see how this bevel right here is a little bit softer than this one too? Like I said, yet again, on purpose. All right. Now what we want to do is we want to do something similar to the core, right? So I'm going to select the core, go to edge select mode. I'm just visually trying to get a square. Boom, that looks pretty good there. It looks like 18 was the number. So this is gonna be a little bit more bevel hacking here. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna grab this one, and I wanna grab this one. And the first thing I wanna do is I wanna bevel these two. I'm looking at my reference. Fairly tight bevel, but I don't want to shape a 1 on it. I wanna put an edge loop up here. Boom, boom, like that. Like I said, that's gonna help us. Let me look at the inside of this too. This edge here, a little bevel action on that, so that when we get in there, it'll lip up real nice. Also, I wanna come in here on the inside. I don't have to, but it's just a good practice. And then I'll put those edge loops in there just like we did on the outside. I put the same number so they match up all the way through the geometry here. And let's go down here at the bottom. Let's bring everybody back, because I wanna go down here at the bottom and do the same thing. So I'm looking at my reference. So notice we got like this little bevel thing right here. Let's go ahead and tackle that first, and I'm gonna use this edge right here to do it. So what I want to do, let's go to front ortho. The way I think I want to tackle this, so it looks as if this snakes down a little bit, or it's cut. No, this is a better image. No, it's just cut in, so it's even easier to do. So let's go here. Let's bevel it out. I want a bevel of 1 segment. I'll try to get the height about right here. And then what I want to do is I want to come in here, and then I want to extrude along the normals, and I want to hold down my shift so it's very subtle, and I want to bring it in. Now here's a trick to getting that shape, because if you look, it's kind of a sharp edge right here at the top, but then it like is very smooth, and then this sharp edge here on the bottom of the shape where you can see my mouse cursor pointing. Grab this top edge here. Notice we're not grabbing the inside edge. I'm leaving it alone. Then I want to grab bottom outer edge here, and then we're going to put the bevels on these guys. And I mean, let's do a shape of 2.5. Yeah, and I think that's good. And when we run sub D, let's just run sub D on this level 3, and keep in mind all this down here is gonna go to blah. So you know what, let's go back and readjust this because it's a little too sharp. And we're gonna do a crease. So we're gonna keep sub D on, but we're gonna do it in real time in sub D. So I'm gonna hit shift E, and I'm just gonna pull this back. See how it's tightening up just a hair? I like that. And it is 34% of 0.34 is what I chose. There you go. There's your look right there. I want to say that's it. You know, I could almost, I'm going to be a stickler about it. Let's change this value to 0.25. Yeah, let's do 0.25 on the edge crease, and I think that fixes us right there. All right, cool, that's done. Save my file. So let's go and continue with our bevels. I want to come down here, select this one. I want to select this one. I want to select this one, and let's just start with these 3. Now I'm gonna turn in X-ray mode again, and I want to grab that lip. I want to grab the top of that lip up there that we hadn't gotten yet. Let's bring everybody back. Now we got ourselves a battery. Now what we need to do, I come back over here in the PureRef. If you look on the outer portion of this, you see there's a seam where it wraps around, where they wrap that metal around there, that aluminum around there, and stuck it together. I just want to mimic it, so I'm going to hold down control, select all the way to here, and then I'm going to go control down to here. I want to make sure I grab all of this edge here, make sure it's all selected here in the bevel as well. So what I wanted to grab this, I want to grab that, and I wanted to grab that. I want to grab this inside of this seam here, here, and here, and it doesn't really need to go any further than that. Maybe I'll grab these 3 here. So now I've got like a little bevel here. And what I want to do is I'm going to do the whole along normals trick, but making sure that I'm not digging in there too deep, because see, I'm watching these lines right here, make sure I don't have overlapping geometry. Let's change these to 0. Let's see if these, oh yeah, that's what I want. All right, so right here we got this little change in the landscape, if you will. See where that's really solid? That's because I globally applied the crease to everything. So I'm just gonna grab those two partial parts of that edge right there, and I'm pulling them off. Give me a second. There we go. See, now it looks right. The next thing to do is I'm gonna make a label offline real quick. I'm gonna come back and we are going to apply said label to this battery, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. All right. Okay, so now let's figure out how we want to unwrap this. So this is the front, and I think we determined that that cut is right there on the side. I don't want it to be right there, but what I chose to do, since this is the front, I'm gonna go to the back, and that's the first seam I want to add. And keep in mind, this geometry has two sides to it, so it's got an inner part, it's got an outer part, because we applied a solidify modifier to it. So right here, I want to definitely put one seam. So I'm gonna hit U and then mark a seam. This is where it's gonna cut it right down the middle, right here, vertically, and lay this thing out flat. I want to show you where I ended up cutting it. All right, guys. Whew. Finally got all of this done. And you can see I hadn't packed it, but you can see I've got everything where it needs to be. What I want to do is I want to parent the outer to the core, bring back in PRF, and here's where we're going to recreate this scene. So right here's my ground plane. So let's bring in a big old plane. It ought to be huge because of this battery is to scale. And I'm gonna show you a little trick that doesn't take much more RAM to do. So I'm gonna grab my battery here, bring in a camera. Let's go ahead and make it square, 1920 by 1920. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab model core, and I want to go to select hierarchy. I'm just gonna grab everybody in there, right? Let's move this over here. Let's move this down here for now. Just kind of getting it out of the way. But I still want you guys to be able to see it. So let's double check, select hierarchy, and let's do Alt D, which is going to make an alias. It's going to make an exact copy. And what I want to do is I want to sit it here. I'm going to go back to ortho mode, and I want to rotate this one because my pivot point is down here, or my origin for this model is down here. So when I rotate it, it's going to rotate it on the side here. And I could move that origin to get it a little bit more precise, but at this point I don't really care too much. Let's see, that back goes sticking off from there just a tad here. Right now they're eating into each other, but if I go to the top view, I can move this one here, back here a little bit. I'm gonna move it back a little bit because my origin's right here and it's gonna pivot this way. So I'm gonna do rotate on Z, and I'm just gonna pivot it in like so. Go back to the camera view, go back to Z. I want to bring him back quite a bit more, and then let's rotate it in quite a bit more, and then let's just arbitrarily pull it in. So like, yeah, something like that. And if I want to rotate it, I can rotate it along the local axis like so, and then I can even go in here, change this to the 3D cursor, which is right here in the origin. Then I can rotate my camera on Z like so, and then change this back to medium point, and then just kind of tweak with my camera until I got it kind of like I want it. And the way this is typically probably shot, let's see, if I go here and I take my background, take it all the way to black, and let's change the render engine to cycles. Cycles a second here. So right now we don't have any lights. So what I want to do is let's come up here and then let's go and add in a light. I'm just going to just add in just a regular area light. I don't really have to do this. Let me check something too. Go back in here while I'm screwing with the light. I want this to be metallic. I never even finished the texture. I knew something didn't look right. I don't want mine as shiny as this version, because I think this is the more I look at it, I think it's an illustration. It just doesn't look quite real. It looks too shiny. All right, there's our version. Create another light. Let's rotate it on Y by 90. Okay, let's move it on X out away from here. It moved pure ref off the screen for a little bit. It's a little bit in the way. I can't see what I'm doing. Let's bring this light in about right here. Let's rotate it on Z. Actually, I want to rotate it on its own medium point, like that. Okay, let's go back to camera view. Oh yeah, see the difference? So now it comes down to just grabbing these lights. Let's grab area 01. Let's try about 120. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a material here. Yeah, let's darken this just a hair. Okay, I don't need to do nothing else. Maybe give it a little bit of a hue, a little bit of saturation, so we can see something happen here. Something like that. Just very faint, just a faint pop of color, and bam, let's hit it. Let's render it. Let's see what we get. If you like this content, if you like this video, if you like the stuff I'm doing, please give me a like and subscribe. There'll be more stuff coming. Thank you all of my subscribers who have actually subscribed. For those of you just viewed, thank you for viewing. I do invite you to become subscribers. It helps me kind of move forward in my trek with this channel and some of the things I want to do. It's going to also allow me to do greater stuff. So please give me a subscribe as well. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Talk to you soon. Later.